Hi everyone, I just want to show you something unexpected. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Done. Ta-da! This is a white sage. And as you can see, there's no white sage anywhere near it. Right? It's a fabulous plant. It's very difficult to germinate. And as you can see, this is like the second time that I've seen the white sage grow from the seed, I think, definitely. So if I look over here, there's nothing, there's no roots or anything near it. So anyone who wants to grow white sage, right, knows how difficult it is to germinate. The rate of success is very low from the flowers, from the seed. So, oh my goodness, it smells so good. You know, one of the things is, I would love to have the gift of talking to the plant. And the first plant that I would talk to is the white sage. Now, that's going to sound ridiculous to some of you, but I believe that we're all energy, and in the spiritual world, it's like common knowledge. If you can channel like particular sacred plant, and I believe, all plants are valuable, but some has, I don't know, more like a connection to me personally than others. But look at it, look how beautiful they are. Absolutely amazing. So I am going back to Vietnam at some point soon. I'm off on a couple trips, so I won't be able to do much here. But one of the things I will miss, it will be, growing white sage. And there's no plant in Vietnam, and I don't think that it will do well in Vietnam because it's very clay soil. And I think white sage, they're like, oh my god, it just looks so good. It's so beautiful. Look at the contrast. In the springtime, when it's in full like flowering blossom and the bees are buzzing all around them, it's just magical. I can't express how amazing it is. And just to see that they do germinate makes me very hopeful. Look at that. It's almost like a lotus, this one. I met few people that actually like white sage because the intensity of the smell. But I'm glad I bought a lot of them, and I'm growing a lot of them. And look at it here. I mean, hopefully I'll get some more that would germinate. Oh, Jesus. Spider web. I just walked straight into it. Yeah, so I think it will be magical. Magical. Oh, my words. It will be magical when I can channel, if I can channel these plants. That will be my ultimate spiritual gift. Just talking to the plant. Sometimes I have very strange encounters, and recently, I think, while I was at work, I was just, I engaged in a conversation with this man. It was very random. Like, out of the blue, he was asking me about, well, I made him a cup of coffee, and then he just like asked me, do you know Pell? And I'm like, Pell? Who is Pell? Anyway, it took me a couple seconds before it registered that it was the Archbishop Pell, father, or Archbishop Pell. And I said, I know of him, but I don't know him personally. And he does have a somewhat of a significant memory, like a reference point in my life, because he was, well, I used to go to Catholic school, and he was somebody that, for the very first time in my life, in the English language, I addressed somebody as Your Grace. And it has a significant impact because in my Vietnamese brain back then, I have no idea what that means and why someone would have such a title. And so I remember him. But anyway, the conversation extended to the fact that, well, you know, Pell, don't judge him by his title, but judge him as a man. And I'm like, a very strange conversation. And I'm like, okay. Each of us has to carry our own cross. I'm like, all these religious things. Anyway, what was most magical about that experience was the fact that we were talking about quantum physics, and he said something that I feel like it was the spirit that was channeling through him to tell me a message. And it was very much about carrying one's own cross. And I said to him, you know what, I'm not sure whether I want to carry my cross. It's too heavy. I don't think many people want to. So, and I said, well, what is the cross? What does it signify? And he said, well, it signifies being true to oneself. And I'm like, okay. And I said, well, you know, sometimes it's hard living in this 3D world, being true to oneself, being authentic and real. But as long as we're making the attempt to do so, I think that is still a positive thing. Because sometimes it's very hard to carry the cross all the time. Because of the way the structure of the society is put in place. It's hard. And he said, okay. And then he was talking about the different angle of the vex, and one the opposite of the other. It's kind of lost me a little bit, but I also understood what he was saying. And he said to me, you know, he has such intelligence, such high level of thinking. And I put the question back at him. And I said, well, you're someone very intelligent, and not many people understand you. And you can't articulate to the people around you because they are living in this 3D world. And there is no language for what you're trying to make meaning of for the people to understand. But if you find yourself stuck in this situation, how do you harmonize? How do you find a solution to not be bound by the restriction? And that's the freedom in the self. Have you found a solution to that? And he said, no, I'm working on it. I was like, well, okay. And then he was saying, you know, it's like carrying around a gallon or 2 or 3 gallons of water. And I said, that's a lot of water to carry. It's a lot of water to carry, to be honest. I don't think I'll be able to carry that much water. Look at me, I'm just a small person. And I said, but you can. And I'm like, okay. So what do you propose? Like, how do you do that? Have you worked out a solution? And then he said, well, you just have to change form. And when water becomes steam, it's light, and then the space will go into space, and you can carry that gallon of water. But you have to know how to transform and transmute that property. And I thought to myself, like, surely you can't be this silly. As in, why are you here? And why am I having this conversation with you? And it was so weird because he's not the only one that I've met that give me cryptic messages. I met many people in my lifetime that does this, and I thought, okay, I feel like I'm about to step into a different timeline, and I'm going towards something because this is excitement in itself. And water is in motion to me. You know, we do tarot, you understand water signify emotion. And when you carry a lot of heavy emotion, it's difficult to bear and it's difficult to go forward. But if you find ways to transmute the emotion and bring the negative emotion from a lower vibration to a high vibration, you can carry anything and you can transform and you can move, navigate in this life to head towards something magical. Okay, so it took me, like, you know, after that encounter, I come home and I thought about it. It's like, oh my god, it's bizarre. It's so bizarre. And when I click, it's like a lock and key mechanism. Click, it opened, something inside me just opened, and I'm like, thank you very much, universe. Thank you for the message. Receive and download. Download and receive and stored. So that's my experience. I think if you pay attention, the universe is constantly making connection with you, and whether it's through people, through plant, through animal, your environment, they are. If you're listening and you're living, you're willing to live for the highest good, you know, and make something meaningful of your life. I think heading towards the, you know, high resonance and the helping people around you express the highest soul purpose. I don't know whether I can make sense. It's to live a more high vibration life. It sounds all gobbledygook, but it is what it is. And that is enough. That's all you have to do. All right, you take care, everyone. Bye.